no more room in hell.
The dead will start a podcast.
I'm here for the young woman.
I wouldn't recommend it, Dan Peel. Taking on a vampire at night is a mission for morons and fools. Which are you?
This isn't the right sort of job for a romantic.
Maybe not, but it was the right kind of job for me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to No More Room in Hell, number 75. This is Mike, and joining me as always, it's Mr. Venom. What's up, Venom?
Greetings and salutations, anime lovers. And yes, I count myself among those numbers. I've been a fan of anime for pretty much most of my life, and I think we'll have a little deeper conversation about it as the episode goes along. I'm doing pretty well. How the hell are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well. I guess 75 is like the last significant number until 100, but we just decided we're just going to do a standard episode. I mean, we can figure out something significant once we get to 100, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was back to Venom's picks on the rotation, so we'll get into those in a little bit. But yeah, doing good. Also with us, it's Derek. What's up, Derek?
Hey, I want to find a bathhouse. I'm horny.
Yeah.
We deal with two little horny devils in this one, in this episode.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if there's anything new to report. We just did a Fresh Cuts episode on Obsession, and I read that its second weekend is even bigger than its first weekend, which is crazy. I mean,
Yeah, that word of mouth. I mean, nothing gets horror movies to make money like word of mouth. If something comes out the first week and pretty much everyone universally loves it, as is the case, it seems like with Obsession. Like, I've yet to see somebody give it a negative review. It's sitting at like what, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I've seen two people.
Oh,
I
wow.
think I know that. I think I know those two people you're talking about.
Moods gave it a 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but he doesn't write reviews or blurbs on there, so I never know why. And then another guy in their group, Dan, said, I don't remember what his star rating was, but something similar. Not Dan Chase, a different Dan. But going by the numbers, I'm not surprised the second weekend's bigger, because technically the first weekend the numbers didn't blow you away. It's just because how much it made versus how much it cost. Because I think the first weekend was like what, 16 million on like a 750K budget.
Oh yeah.
And it's just that everyone that went to see it told everyone else. And since when you don't have like a $50 million opening, there's still lots of people left over to go see it in the second weekend. It looks like it did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad, because like I thought it was good. I mean, anyone that listened to our episode, I wasn't like head over heels in love with it like some people, but I did think it was good and worthy of a bigger audience. So I'm glad that it did expand in its second weekend.
Yep. Despite the shitty main character, but you'll have to tune into Fresh Cuts to find out what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then this weekend there was like at least 3 releases, and 2 of them I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to see, because Corporate Retreat and Saccharine, I don't know why. Well, I know Corporate Retreat is probably, I know why, but for Saccharine, though, both those two got relegated to like late night only screenings here.
Same here.
I want to say Saccharine might have like a 7-ish o'clock one, which maybe I'll go see later, but I'm out of the habit of seeing movies like too late at night. If I'm gonna go in the afternoon or evening, anywhere between like 4 and 6 p.m. is like really the sweet spot for me.
I always try to catch matinee shows.
Yeah, me too. I'm a morning watcher.
Yeah,
just because I tend to have to get up early for work the next day on, at least half my days of work. I tend to go in the morning. Like, I tried to find a screening today of our Fresh Cuts movie for the week, but same thing. 6 o'clock was the first screening. So I guess I'll watch it tonight for our review tomorrow.
Yeah, when I go on the weekends, I love seeing in the morning. Like I saw Boots Riley's new movie, I Love Boosters, at like I think it was like a 9:30 a.m. showing, and it was like so nice to be in there with like there was only a few other people there, didn't have to deal with crowds or anything. It was great.
That's
Yeah,
why I like
late.
my matinee shows. There's usually not a lot of loud, boisterous people, rude theater goers, and it's usually more than half empty. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, the latest I went recently was like 2:45, and that was to see Mortal Kombat. So that tells you something.
I mean, I do go see movies at night if that's the only option I have. Like, I
Yeah.
actually saw Obsession on Thursday night on its premiere screening, just because it worked for me since I had the next day off, and the next opportunity for me would have been the day we recorded the Fresh Cuts episode. I just decided to go, but yeah, that's a rarity for me to go on an evening, just because I have to go. I tend to go to Burbank, and parking in Burbank on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights is ridiculous. So yeah, matinees are the way to go.
Yeah, I'll still see stuff in the evening, especially if it's like a multi-release where there's like 3, 4 movies you want to see. There's no way I'm gonna be able to probably see all of them in the morning, especially if it includes like a Thursday and Friday when I'm working. But for like weekends where there's like one movie or maybe two, it's like I'll find showing Saturday and
Yeah.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, like I think the last movie I saw at like night was like Spider-Man: No Way Home, and we didn't get home till like 1. That's how long that movie is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, I'm going to see The Mandalorian Tuesday night, and I know that one's like 2.5 hours. So I got to get my bladder prepared.
Oh ho 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 ho! Lots of huts
Do
in
you-
that, I heard.
Is
Yeah,
is
not the one that we care about, but yeah, lots of huts.
is the movie, is it the next like chapter in the concurrent story, or is it kind of like a side mission story?
Offhand, I'm not sure. You know me. I don't read about my movies. I don't watch trailers, blah blah blah. Though I did watch a trailer for this one because I figure it's a Star Wars movie. What's the trailer really
I
gonna
think
be
it's
about?
like maybe like one of his like first missions, like working for the Republic. If that makes sense.
Okay.
But
But I don't know.
It's been so long since the end of the last season that I don't even remember if it ended on like a cliffhanger or not. Like I just
It ended with him fucking fishing with Grogu.
yeah,
The
yeah,
frogs.
no, it had a very nice ending.
okay.
It wasn't like the end of season 2 where he
Right,
left with
right.
Luke. Season 3 was actually like kind of a calm season finale, which I liked. I enjoyed it. After getting the 2 kind of cliffhangers for season 1 and 2, I needed that for season 3, especially knowing that they were going to take so long before season 4 because they were working on the movie. Because Fellini and everybody involved in the show is working on the movie. So yeah, season 4 will be delayed, but I'm down for it. I like my cinematic experiences.
Hey, I got
Plus, I'll be
that.
seeing it. I'll be seeing it in Screen X, and it's the first time I'll be watching something in Screen X. So, for those who don't know, Screen X is the one where they basically the whole front half of the theater is a screen. So it's not just the screen in front of you. The screen actually goes all the way to your left and right.
Oh,
So,
that's crazy.
yeah, kind of
Yeah,
like
they-
4DX, but I think the screen is actually a little bit bigger than 4DX. But like I said, I've never done it before, so this will be a first. So I'll report on the next episode how it went.
This is the way.
It projects super wide like that.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Probably not. So in that case, we can get into our what we watch segment. So Venom, you're up first. What do you got first?
All right. Well, unfortunately, I have no new movies to speak about for this segment this week. I try to bring the newest stuff to the table, stuff that we haven't reviewed on Fresh Cuts, but unfortunately, because of my schedule and just time constraints in general, I basically just watch some favorites. For those who don't know, I don't like watching new movies at night because in my old age, I tend to fall asleep on the couch.
Yes.
So if I pop a movie in at night, it's going to be an old favorite. It's not going to be something I've never seen before. So I'll be bringing 3 old favorites to the table today. And the first one is going to be the oldest film I talk about. This one's coming from all the way from 1964. And it's even coming from a foreign country. It's coming from all the way in Japan. This one is called Onibaba. And I just picked up this Blu-ray, or should I say my Mrs. Venom got it for me for my birthday last month. So I was very happy to check it out. It easily had been 20 plus years since the last time I saw it. Like I remembered the basic elements of the story, but there was so much about it that I forgot. Some of the beautiful cinematography, the great score. But anyway, Onibaba, 1964, black and white horror from Japan. This one is about two women who basically scour samurai battlefields. And when they find like half dead samurai, they basically finish the job and then rob them and sell off their stuff. And that's basically how they survive. So they're, thieves and murderers, these two women. One day they find a mask. They don't know much about the mask. One of them decides to put it on, and hilarity ensues from there. I won't spoil too much more of the story after that, but yeah. Again, this is definitely more an artistic film than a visceral one. Like there's not really any gore or blood, obviously. I mean, 1964 Japan. But I mean, we've got some beautiful imagery, when the woman's actually wearing the mask. There's scenes where the mask is talking to her. Like just in general, this movie is just a beautiful movie and absolutely recommend it. Like I said, I don't really want to get into the story too much more other than that basic synopsis of the two women killing samurais for a living, and then they find the mask. So either of my co-hosts ever see Onibaba?
Yes, I have, and all I can say about it without spoiling too much is great folk horror.
Oh, spectacular folk horror. I mean, one of the granddaddies, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned that you watched on Max, but I think it is still available there.
Oh, like I said, Mrs. Venom got me the Blu-ray for Christmas.
The Criterion,
for my
right?
birthday. Let me see. It's in my hand. Yes, the Criterion Collection.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good double feature with Kira Neko from the same director.
Yes, another great one. So yeah, Onibaba, first thing I've been watching. So back to you, Mike.
Speaking of Criterion, I think we're a week away from. I think usually June is the first month in the year that they do their 50% off sale. So,
oh damn it!
There goes our wallet. Paycheck.
Yep, there goes my rent money.
All right, Derek, what do you got up first?
Okay, let's I haven't really been watching. Well, I did watch one new movie, I should say, and I think you guys covered on Fresh Cuts, and that is Lee Corinne's The Mummy. I had no idea what the fuck this movie was going to be about going into it. I did not see any trailers. I've seen a few posters of it. Wow, this movie was fucked up in the best ways possible. Like, it was like, hey, let's just take like this possession like aspect and make like a different take on like mummies in general. I dug the aspect of it because it's something that I'd never seen done before. Used to more like the lumpy like fucking Frankenstein walking mummies, you know what I mean? So this was kind of a cool. It kind of had like that like paranormal like psychological horror aspect mixed with body horror. Some of like the investigating parts of the movie kind of reminded me of David Fincher's Seven with the Egyptian detective that's trying to find out what happened. Yeah, so I love that aspect. The main guy from Midsummer is the main actor that plays the dad. And that guy always just like he has like the best like facial expressions ever. He's like, what the fuck did I get myself into? I love that guy. Like he's just fucking funny as fuck. But I dug the movie. Like I love like all the practical effects used in it, like the body horror aspect of it, like that toenail fucking happened. I was like, oh fuck.
That I said it on the Fresh Cuts episode. That scene is filmed so beautifully because you obviously expect the toenail to just come off. I mean, that's what pretty much 100% of the audience who's watching that for the first time. And then when you see what actually happens, which I'm obviously not going to spoil, shit, the cringe was amazing. Like everyone in the theater sank into their seat. It was amazing.
And to think that it couldn't get any worse, and then what happens downstairs with that fucking poker,
Oh God, yeah.
like make it even worse. Like I actually felt fucking anxiety because this little girl's like comatose on the bed. You never know when she's gonna fucking move. So I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? They're all like getting too close to this fucking crazy bitch right now.
Yeah.
I dug
obviously we talked about it on Fresh Cuts, and I definitely was the highest of the three of us. And I understand, like, anybody who has a problem with this movie, I completely understand. It is the least mummy movie of any mummy movie ever made. I mean, it's basically, The Exorcist meets Evil Dead Burn more than anything, or Evil Dead Rise, excuse me. Rise was the last one. I mean, just how, the family succumb to the antagonist one by one in a certain order, almost the exact same order as in Evil Dead Rise. And yes, of course, it is Lee Cronin, who is the same director. The director of Evil Dead Rise also did The Mummy. So obviously the similarities are, very apparent, and the reasoning behind it is very obvious. I'm not necessarily complaining about it because I loved Evil Dead Rise, and I'm happy to report that I love The Mummy. And I know I'm kind of in the minority on that one, but I love that style of film, the demonic possession, subgenre. It's one of my favorites ever. Obviously, The Exorcist being my favorite movie of all time, it kind of it tracks for me. So even though the movie, doesn't really deal with a mummy very much in the movie, at least not as an antagonist, it worked for me. I thought the pacing was great. I thought the set design was fine. The score was serviceable. It had some decent cringe moments that, like I said, we've already talked about. And I was even very satisfied with the ending. I thought, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm a very petty and vindictive person. So to see that ending, it left me with a smile on my face. I had a smile the whole ride home from the theater. So yeah, I understand I'm in the minority on that one, but I absolutely loved it. So now I'll let Mike come in and rain on the parade.
I mean, like I've already talked about it. No, it wasn't for me, but like the stuff that gets pointed out, like specific scenes, I don't really have any disagreement there. I thought those were well done, just overall. It gets a lot of comparisons to Evil Dead Rise, which I didn't like that much. I mean, I thought it was okay. So to me, it kind of correlates. It seems like a lot of people that loved Evil Dead Rise loved The Mummy, so it makes sense why I was just like okay.
Yeah, Lee Cronin has a style, and it works for some of us. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I'll say this, like even with like Hole in the Ground, like all of his like movies deal with like parent horror, like every like thing has to do with like parents and their children, and that's a cool aspect of all three of his movies that I've noticed so far.
I mean, Hole in the Ground, I absolutely loved. It was in my top 10 for that year. I adored that movie. More because of the family drama. I mean, obviously the horror of it and what's actually down in that hole is pretty horrific, but I thought there were some great performances, from a first-time director with, not a big cast, or at least a big cast of stars. It's probably still my favorite of the three, in all honesty, just because it's so subtle in its horror. It's not as overt as his next two movies. I mean, Evil Dead is gonna be a very visceral movie, no matter who makes it. Yeah, regardless of the writer director, it's gonna be a visceral movie. So, but yeah, I'm right there.
You get a new one of those coming up too. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the Evil Dead Burn that I mentioned earlier. The
director of Infested.
Myself. Yeah.
All right. So unfortunately I'm kind of in the similar, but well, I have watched a lot of movies, but nothing new because I had really planned to get to this recording having seen the other horror movies that released this weekend that we're not doing on Fresh Cuts, but because of the limited screenings, which we talked about in the opening, I just wasn't able to get to it. So I'll just kind of talk about other random stuff I watched. The first one, it's probably more sci-fi thriller than horror, but I did really like it. It's a Michael Crichton movie that I saw for the first time called Looker. Um,
Oh,
and the cool thing about this one is I feel like the themes of it and what's going on is even more relevant now than maybe when it came out. When it came out in 81, it was certainly technology that was maybe in the horizon or stuff they thought about. But now, I mean, if they made a remake or something like just similar in theme. So basically the setup is our movie opens with like a model being murdered, and what we kind of find out is this tech company is making computer renderings of models, and like trying to sell it as like, oh, we can perfect every flaw of the human body, so like who needs actual live models anymore when we can just depict them for you. And so of course they view like the living models as competition for people that are holding out on like agreeing to make everything digitized. So it's kind of like a thriller, a mystery. We got some cyberpunk elements going on there. Definitely like sci-fi because of the technology. I kind of liken it to a movie like Videodrome, where it came out with all these ideas and thoughts of like where we're gonna go with tech, and in the case of Videodrome, like TV and stuff. And now that we're like fully in the internet digital era, it's the themes still kind of work even much more because of the prevalence of AI and automation, and like how um it took barely what 20 years from this cool new creation of the internet to now you don't know if half the stuff you're looking on the internet is fake and auto generated, and it didn't take long at all for that to become a reality. So I think a movie like Looker, it's one I don't hear a lot talked about, and especially with director writer Michael Crichton having some other famous stuff. I think Looker,
Westworld.
Westworld, yeah, I think this is worth taking another look at. It was a commercial flop when it first came out, but as we know from like a lot of 80s favorites now, that doesn't mean much in the long run. So I would say anyone who hasn't seen it, or maybe even if you did see it, give Looker a look. Have you either of you guys seen this?
No,
No, I never have. I've never even heard of it.
I know Albert Finney's in it.
Ah,
Yeah, Albert Finney as Dr. Larry Roberts, and Susan Day
ah.
is in it. Dorian Harewood as Lieutenant Masters is in it, and if you don't remember him, he was one of the black soldiers in
He was
Full
eight
Metal
ball,
Jacket. Yeah.
Right.
and he was in that fucking Van Damme Pittsburgh Penguins movie.
Oh
Hey, I'm
yeah,
in
that's
that
right.
movie.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm in it for like half a second in one of the crowd scenes because obviously shot in Pittsburgh. They shot it at the Civic Arena. All the hockey scenes they shot at the Civic Arena. After they find out about the bomb and there's scenes of like crowds running out, you can see me very briefly. I got to get the timestamp so you can check it out. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
I
Yeah.
got lucky enough to be in that one. And I also was on set for Inspector Gadget, but the scene that I was in ended up getting cut. So I'm not actually in Inspector Gadget.
Oh boy.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing. Though I could have an IMDb page if I had 2 cinematic credits. Shit.
That's true.
Oh well.
All right, back to you, Venom.
All right, back to my older list. This one, I don't even know why I'm bringing up, other than the fact that I bought the 4K, or should I say that the 4K was bought for me for my birthday last month. And this is a slasher, potentially, if not absolutely, my favorite non-franchise slasher ever, Coming to us from 1981, this is The Burning, the story of Cropsey and, his little revenge plot 5 years after he was accidentally, quote unquote, killed, or should I say, maimed by a prank at a summer camp. And obviously, like I said, 5 years later, campers start coming up dead, and, the hilarity ensues from there. I forgot how cool that raft scene was. Admittedly, I hadn't seen the movie in probably, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years since the last time I checked it out. But goddamn, I forgot how cool that raft scene was. Excuse me. So yeah, The Burning, and I do also highly recommend the Scream Factory 4K. I think it's cheap too. I think it's under $30. It got a decent amount of special features on there. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. I can assume that both of my co-hosts have seen The Burning, though I would imagine 99.9% of the people listening to my voice right now have probably seen The Burning. So go ahead, gentlemen, spew your thoughts.
Jason Alexander, we're here.
Early Jason Alexander, George Costanza.
And Holly Hunter.
That's right, Holly Hunter too, yeah. Harvey.
Yeah. I've seen it just not in a long ass time.
Yeah. The most tragic thing about this movie is the fact that it's tied to Harvey Weinstein because he's credited as one of the writers. But what are you gonna do? Ignore that fact.
The creation of the Weinstein started with that movie.
Oh God. Yeah.
Best I can do is ignore it.
That was before they could have the money to do the shit that he did.
Yeah, exactly. He's like Jeffrey Epstein Jr. Sorry, I'm getting political.
But I agree. The 4K was great. Like I picked that up a few months ago, and I agree.
Awesome. Quick watch, 90 minutes. Lots of good special features.
Fucking
nice
great
transfer.
Rick Wakeman score too. Like,
yeah, great score. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Speaking of great scores, it's my turn now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up the fucking $60 fucking edition of Lucio Fulci's The Beyond, the 4K. Ooh. It's fucking but it's such a cool set, man. It has it's stored in there's 6 discs stored in a little copy of the Ebon fucking book that's in the movie.
Nice.
Yeah, it was so worth it for that. So I actually watched the composer's cut for the first time because I heard that was a thing. Now let me explain. Fabio Frizzi actually did a expanded score for the Beyond with some new instrumental stuff going on with it, and it's actually that score that you hear when you watch the movie in the composer's cut. It's it's really cool, and man, it looks beautiful. All the cinema imagery in that movie, so good.
Do you get the score separately in that one? Is there a separate disc with the score on it?
Oh yeah, it has the CD too. It comes with
nice.
It even comes with the shitty, very cut version. 7 Doors of Death. That was released on VHS years ago for us. That's the only way. I think it even had a diamond DVD of that version of this movie. back in the day. You remember those dollar DVDs they used to
sell? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it was
you could almost see through them. The discs were so thin.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Beyond 4K. So worth them. Glad I picked it up finally.
The price kept me from getting it for a long time too, and I finally pulled the trigger this past Christmas because I had some just extra funds for it. So I was like, well, if there's any time of the year where you're just gonna splurge on something, it's Christmas. So grabbed it, and it's an amazing set. I know in these times, physical media, a lot of it feels unjustified in the price, but that Beyond set, at least when I was going through it and seeing everything included, I was like, okay, I can understand why this one is a little pricier than the normal average movie. So great set and great movie.
Yeah, they won a scratch ticket, so I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna fucking
nice
buy this finally.
Found money is always the best.
Yes.
All right, let's see. What do I got up next? Okay. This actually is a 2026 movie, not theatrical, or at least not here. It might have got a small run, but this is probably the most odd movie I've seen of the year so far. I know we're like just barely approaching halfway through the year, but I think this has a good chance to remain that way. And it's called Buffet Infinity. And this one, it's just the setup is weird more than anything to begin with. So how can I describe this movie? So we have two local restaurants. One's a buffet and one's a burger shop. And the narrative is told completely percent through commercials. And when I say commercials, think like 80s, early 90s style commercials. If you've seen and are a fan of WNUF special, kind of like the era that they were going for too, because they include like, originally created commercials based on that era. So this movie, it's completely commercial oriented. So what you'll get is each of these restaurants having ads, but then you'll also get like various random ads for other things in between that may or may not connect into this whole bigger thing going on. Like I don't want to spoil too much here, but um, how it kind of kicks off is the restaurants are at first it's like pretty like normal ads like what you would expect. Come try our burgers. They're the best in town. And then the buffet would be like, come try our buffet. We have 35 choices, whatever. And then like slowly, like each restaurant in their ads, you notice they're taking like kind of small jabs at the other one. And then the other one will answer back in their ad about just kind of subtle, like, well, you can't, or you won't just only have burgers at our buffet. And then the other thing is like, yeah, but our fresh food won't be sitting out until you can go get, stuff like that. And it seems like pretty normal, but slowly things get more intense. And then you start to notice like little things in commercials that are seemingly unrelated. Like, wait, what's going on here? And I'm not really going to get into where it goes because I think it deserves to be like discovered and figured out for everyone on their own if they're into the movie. And this is one of those movies where it's hard to recommend to everyone because I think in about 15, 20 minutes, you're either going to want to turn it off because it just isn't your thing, or you're just going to get a kick out of what you're seeing and you're going to want more and you're going to want to figure out what and why these connections are intensifying and where it's all going to lead. This one is currently on VOD. I remember it getting like some festival buzz last year, but I assumed, and it was a safe assumption, but just from the description, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be theatrical, and if it is, it's going to be like small release, maybe like art houses around the country, but it never got a screening here, even like in our smaller theaters. So it is available now. I'd imagine eventually it'll end up free on something. Like it seems like the type of thing that a Shutter could eventually pick up or a Screenbox, but right now on Prime you can rent it, and that's Buffet Infinity. I assume neither of you have seen it because not many people have, but any chance you guys have seen it?
No.
I've definitely not, but I absolutely adore WNUF. So I'm actually going to seek this out and watch it very soon because I actually love that kind of stuff, that kind of cinema, where they're trying to go for kind of a period piece, but, 70s, 80s, whatever the case may be, interjecting like TV commercials and things like that, stuff like Ghost Watch and WNUF. So I'm excited to watch it actually.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds cool.
it'll like me and Venom are like a handful of years apart in age, but I think we still have that commonality in like that kind of like 80s and then
Oh
even
yeah.
into the early 90s era where we were both at least old enough to have a good idea in our head still of like what things looked like back then. So yeah, I think it'll at least have like that comfort style, like for you when you're like as soon as like the first ad or as soon as the movie opens up, you're gonna immediately be brought back first person perspective of that time. So
Yeah.
if anything, it'll at least conjure up that memory.
Nice.
All right,
Yeah.
back to you,
Awesome.
Ben.
All right, for my last one, this will be the newest movie, still not in our current decade. This one's coming to us from 2015. This one is written and directed by Chad Archibald. This was a movie. Oh, by the way, 2015, the year I started podcasting. So this was actually one of the first movies I watched after I started podcasting, when I started podcasting with the Horror Cast back in 2015. This was a movie that they had reviewed before I joined the show, and I went ahead and watched it back then. I actually found it recently at a bookstore that was closing. I found a used Blu-ray of it for like $3, so I went ahead and picked it up. And this movie is called Bite. Just a nice, simple title, Bite. And this is basically the story of a girl. She's about to get married. On her bachelorette party, she gets bitten by an unknown insect. After the trip, she comes home, and once again, hilarity ensues. I'm not gonna describe this one too much, other than to say this is a gross ass movie. This is very visceral. If you don't like creepy crawlies, avoid this movie big time. But I actually had a really good time with this one. I love the transformation of our main character, how she just gets more unhinged as the movie goes along, and some of the shit that happens in the third act you definitely do not see coming. So like I said, not the biggest movie from 2015. It went direct to video, obviously no theatrical. I'm not even sure if it had a VOD run. I remember seeing physical media for it right after the Horror Cast had reviewed it. So yeah, I'm actually glad that I picked this one up. I mean, for $3, this was an awesome movie. This is something that I'll probably return to maybe every couple of years or so, because I like movies that make me uncomfortable, that, make me cringe or kind of sink into the couch as I'm watching it. And this is definitely one of them. I'm not going to say this movie's like a 10 out of 10 must watch by any stretch of the imagination. It is definitely just kind of a gory body horror film, solidly body horror more than anything. But like I said, if you're not a fan of creepy crawlies and, people doing creepy crawly things, I would say avoid Bite. But otherwise, I have a fun time with it. It's sub 90 minutes. It's like an hour and 25 minutes long. So it's a quick watch, and it gets to the action fairly quickly. Like the opening scene of her at the bachelorette party doesn't last very long. So yeah, great movie. Don't know if either of my co-hosts have watched it, but I would definitely recommend they check it out if they want to feel uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, I've seen Bite. Yeah, I own
awesome.
the Scream Factory Blu-ray of it.
Is that what it is? Let me see. Is this a Oh, it is. Yeah, you're right. It's the Scream Factory Blu-ray that I have.
Yeah,
It's got a cut on the UPC, obviously, because they sold it used. But yeah, for $3, you can't go wrong.
yeah. I've seen a few of Ball's movies. Like he did The Drownsman from 2014. He also did a movie with Trauma called Kill that was pretty good.
Oh, I gotta look out for that one then.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Awesome. Back to you, Mike.
All right, Derek, what do you got up last?
I checked out another new 4K that I got in the mail, and that is the Arrow video release of The Pang Brothers, The Eye, which is a Chinese horror film. It's actually their follow-up to Bangkok Dangerous, which is kind of crazy because it's two different movies. Like Bangkok Dangerous is like this action, low-budget action fucking movie. And this one's
You
like
see the Arrow release?
yeah, Arrow Video,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I got that on my wish list.
Yeah, it was pretty and they did Bangkok Dangerous, of course, which is like a low budget action movie. But then they did this one, which is like a psychological ghost horror movie. Very talented guys in their early career, I could say that. They've done a few movies that I've seen past this one. Uh, I actually seen the sequels to this movie first before I actually seen this one, which besides like the third one, they're not actually connected. The third one tries to connect all three of them together and it fails miserably. And it's kind of comedic. It's kind of like if you've never seen the Eye 3, it turns into like how they beat the ghosts as they fart. I'm dead serious. Out of nowhere, it turns into like a Buro Noguchi movie.
That's
Like,
funny. I've seen the first two. I never saw the third one. What year was the first Eye?
this one was good question, actually.
Because I saw it, I actually got to see the original Eye in theaters for its 10th anniversary. I remember
22?
there was
2002.
Oh, okay. So 2012, I saw it in theaters. I was lucky enough that they were doing a 10th anniversary screening for it out here, and I had seen the American Eye by that point, but what Jessica, what's her face is in it.
Yeah.
But I had never seen the original, so I got to see that one in theaters, and yeah, it is endlessly better. I actually really enjoyed it. I love that ending.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Absolutely.
How about you, Mike? You never see it before?
The Eye?
Yeah.
The original.
Yes, I have. The original is very good. I like it. I honestly don't know if I've ever seen the Jessica Alba remake one though. I am aware of it, and I want to say it's been on my TV before. Like,
The interesting aspect of that one is they actually got a director duo to direct that one. So there was actually two directors, like there was for the Eye, the original. And they got the guys who did the movie Them, the French movie.
The French
Yeah.
movie, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I remember being underwhelmed by the American Eye, but after seeing the original in theaters, I understood why they remade it for us, but they still failed miserably.
Yeah. The only thing I could say is I did like the look of the movie, but overall, like the ending's way so much better in the original.
Exactly. Big time.
Yeah.
All right. So for my last one, kind of a cheat because it's like they're not new releases and movies everyone I know you guys know these and are familiar. I'm just gonna kind of do them together because they have so many obvious connections. In one of my recent purchasing sprees, I grabbed the 4K releases of Reanimator and From Beyond. And yeah, they look and sound great and still love them. Jeffrey Combs is still the man. Barbara Crampton, I mean, this era, she had quite the run of horror movies.
Prime Barbara Crampton. Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know her. I'm sure I've mentioned it on the show that I live down the street. She lives in Burbank. I'm in Sherman Oaks. Literally, we live on the same street, Magnolia Boulevard, just a few miles apart from each other. But yeah, I've met her a few times. She's an absolute sweetheart, and she still looks amazing.
She always likes my comments on her posts. So
yeah, she's very into social media.
Yeah.
Like she's on Twitter a lot, or X, whatever.
I thought she just moved to New York, unless that was someone else in her family.
Possibly. I mean, it's not like I've even spoken to her in years because she hasn't done any kind of autograph session or anything lately. So it's quite possible she moved.
Yeah, and it would have been recent, like a couple of weeks ago. I thought I saw on her social media.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Too bad. Oh, we lost a good one to New York. Boo.
Yeah, I mean, what all else there is, unless we had them on our main feature, we would obviously get into them more detailed. But most horror fans are familiar with them. I just brought them up to say that the 4Ks look and sound incredible. Like the neon green and Reanimator just pops off the screen. All the famous
the pink
scenes.
and From Beyond.
Yeah, the color out of space and From Beyond.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually is the inspiration. I mean, obviously, both of those movies are Lovecraftian. They're both inspired by Lovecraft stories. But yeah, from what I understand, the filmmaker was that Brian Usna for From Beyond.
He produced it. I think Stuart Gordon was the director.
Stuart
But
Gordon.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember reading an interview with Stuart Gordon where he said The Color Out of Space was an inspiration for not the movie, obviously, because the movie didn't exist back then, but the story, the Lovecraft story, also titled The Color Out of Space, was like an inspiration for some of the color schemes in From Beyond. So it's even more Lovecraftian than you thought.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I love both of those movies. And we're actually getting a new Reanimator. I'm sure you've heard of that.
No. You
Yeah,
mean
we're getting
like
a
a
new one.
sequel or a remake?
No, I believe it's a reboot. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I had no
Um,
idea.
I even
Jeffrey
like the third
Combs.
one. Like
Jeffrey Combs is still going to be in it, but he's not playing Herbert West. There's a new Herbert West.
Hmm.
So there you go.
No,
And it's a big name actor. I just forgot who it is. Here, you guys keep talking. I'll try to find it.
yeah, I actually like the third reanimated movie too. Like fucking Beyond Beyond Reanimator, where it's like in the prison.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of want to say that I might like that one more than Bride, but it's been a while since I've seen the two sequels.
I like that it's because when they moved to Spain and so they get like all these old school like Spanish horror actors in the too.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. Yeah, I actually think I prefer it to Bride too.
Which is the one that takes place in the jail? I remember
Beyond.
liking that one.
Beyond.
That's Beyond. I remember thinking that one was better than I expected. Like I didn't expect much from it, but it actually turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the last Hammer Frankenstein movie in a way, Frankenstein the Monster from Hell, because that took place in a prison too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Some of Shocker was in a prison.
Let's not talk about Shocker ever again.
Will it turn you into no more Mr. Nice Guy?
All
Oh,
I remember
stop
from
it.
that all I remember from that episode was Jeffrey X. Martin saying that the girl turned into a Care Bear and glue.
Oh man.
That was the best episode to have him on.
Oh, so good.
Do we have any genre news or happenings or anything? I mean, I already brought up the obsession thing blowing up this weekend, but
Well,
uh
for video game fans, specifically Dead by or what is it? Dead by Daylight? Yeah, Dead by Daylight fans. Well, we're going to be getting a new horror legend joining that one. Of course, if you're a regular player of that game, you know we've already gotten like Michael Myers and Leatherface as playable characters. Well, our friend from Crystal Lake is going to be joining the cast. So, yeah, Jason Voorhees is going to be a playable character in Dead by Daylight sometime later this year. That DLC will be available. So, if you're still playing Dead by Daylight, enjoy Jason Voorhees. I myself am not still playing. I think I traded my game in, but who knows? Maybe I'll pick up a used version of it just so I can check out.
I can just mail you one of mine. I have like 2 copies on the Switch.
Oh, nice. Awesome. But yeah, not a whole lot of news, huh? And then the other thing I was going to say is for fans of the Universal Halloween Horror Nights, either out here in California or down in Florida, we're actually getting a Sinners haunted attraction. Yes, they're actually making a maze out of Sinners, which
Let me in.
yeah, that's weird because I mean, Sinners isn't necessarily the scariest movie. I mean, I wouldn't call it scary at all, really. Some tense moments, but not actual fear necessarily. But so I'm wondering what they're going to be doing with it. If it's just going to be a maze with just a bunch of vampires jumping out, scaring people, or if it's going to be a little bit more.
do you think
stylized.
it might be the tram one? Because the last time I went to Hollywood Horror Nights, Walking Dead was still what the tram attraction was.
Oh, right. I haven't been in a very long time, in all honesty. I'm not the biggest fan. Like I like haunted houses and I like haunted hay rides and stuff like that. But obviously with the cost involved in going to like a Disneyland or, Universal for one of their horror events, it's almost not really worth it.
I got stuck in Spooky World out here, man. So that's where I go.
Yeah, see, I wish we had kind of a lower budget one out here that I could check out. I'm sure we do. I would probably just have to find it. It might take some searching.
I don't know how long it takes you to get to Long Beach, but the Haunted Queen Mary ship
I've
one
done
is
that.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
I want to go
I've got-
find the house from Hell House LLC.
Is that out here or is that
No,
where
that's
Derek
that's in
is?
like Pittsburgh, I think.
Oh, is it nice? Oh, maybe
Yeah, where they
I
actually
haven't been to
filmed that.
Pittsburgh in a long time, but if I
Oh.
ever go back to visit old friends, I might have to try to check it
Yeah,
out.
I actually think it was an actual haunt too. That they used like.
Nice. That's awesome. The
uh,
Abaddon.
no, 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 no.
But yeah, as far as news, not really a whole lot happening.
Bruce Campbell is going to be on Invincible season 4 as Satan. That's pretty
Nice.
big.
Oh, I forgot to mention in what we've been watching, I did finish The Boys, which, I know it's a superhero property, but ultimately it's the most violent, goriest live action superhero property out there.
They gave us Raksha.
Exactly. But man, that last episode, I'm not going to say anything about it because it just literally dropped last week. But goddamn, for longtime viewers, it is one of the most satisfying series finales ever. That's all I'm
Anthony
going to say
Starr
about
should
it.
win an Emmy.
Ah, I loved it. Loved it. Carl Urban is my new hero. He should be in everything. And he is in the new Mortal Kombat, so.
He is.
And he's pretty awesome in it, actually. I've never been a fan of Johnny Cage as a character, but if it's played by Carl Urban, I'm in.
I love the bromance between him and Baraka. I need that to be.
That was funny. That was actually hysterical. I love that. That was more than a bromance. I thought they were going to kiss at one point.
Master Johnny Cage, I will follow you everywhere.
Oh, so
I was
good.
dying laughing when fucking Kano called Quan Chi fucking Pennywise.
Kano again stole the show. I mean, god damn it. I obviously, as being a longtime Scorpion fan, I wish Scorpion had a bigger role in the movie, but at least he is in it. We get to see him for a couple of great scenes. But yeah, Kano stole the show again, just like he did in the first movie. And like I said, Johnny Cage was a lot better than I gave him any credit for being. So rock on.
Fuck yeah.
All right. What was I gonna say? Oh, I saw an interview with Flanagan where he talked about how The Exorcist is gonna be like a totally its own thing, which I'm glad he's like starting over. And he said he drew inspiration from Exorcist 3, which is good to hear.
Nice.
Ultimately, I have faith in Flanagan because he's Flanagan, but we'll see. I hope he has the
Hey, if it's 10
artistic
times better
freedom.
than fucking Believer.
Yeah, I'm just glad that he was able to say, I don't want to do a sequel to Believer. I just want to start over with my own thing.
Yeah.
That gave me some more faith, at least.
Absolutely. I mean, even Flanagan, who, in my opinion, hasn't made a bad movie yet or TV series, I don't think he could have saved Believer. Like, if they would have continued with that story, it's like, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully, Mike Flanagan understands the nature of The Exorcist, that it's not about the fucking exorcism. The movie is called The Exorcist. So the movie, like the original, needs to be about the Exorcist, for fuck's sake. Obviously, the douchebag who did Exorcist Believer didn't understand that. It's like he didn't even realize what the title of his own fucking movie was. Like, I hate that.
I hate that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that movie with every fiber of my being. Like I said, The Exorcist is my favorite movie of all time, regardless of genre. I adore it. And I don't necessarily have an issue with people remaking it or making more like modern day sequels for it. That's fine. But when you don't even understand the nature of a movie titled The Exorcist, you should have your director's license taken away. Like, I'm sorry. Like literally, Exorcist Believer should have ended someone's career. It's that fucking bad. So yeah.
Hey, he hasn't made a movie since.
Good, and he doesn't deserve to. So, though I'm sure we'll see his ugly head, rise up again.
I smell Your Highness Part 2 coming soon.
Oh God, I hope not. Stop that.
Speaking of horny Yoda.
Exactly, more horny little guys. Oh God. All right,
yeah.
Mike.
if that wraps up our news, I guess we will take our break. But Venom, tell everyone what 2 movies we're going to be discussing.
All right. Well, as it is the month of May and I am a gigantic anime fan, I celebrate anime. And that is, of course, spelled ANI-MAY, as us fans call it. So yes, for the month of anime, I wanted to bring a couple of horror anime titles to the table. I thought about bringing some obscure ones to the table, but I figure since this is our first full anime episode, it's not the first time we've ever talked about an anime, because longtime listeners will remember that on episode 43, we talked about Perfect Dark, which was Derek's picks at the time, and not Perfect Dark, I'm sorry.
Perfect Blue.
Oh my God. Perfect Blue. Yes, thank you. Which is, of course, one of my favorite animes ever. I mean, it is literally an anime giallo, which just makes it amazing, but we already talked about it on the show. So instead, since this is our first full episode of anime films, I brought some of the bigger heavy hitters to the table. And then maybe if next year my picks fall in May, I'll do the more obscure ones. But yeah, for this episode, we're looking at 2 of potentially the most highly regarded horror animes out there. That is 1987's Wicked City and 2000's Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, which is, of course, the sequel to the original Vampire Hunter D. I didn't want to do the original because I didn't want to do 2 80s animes in this episode. I wanted to do 2 movies that had very drastically different animation styles, whereas the original Vampire Hunter D looks a lot like Wicked City ultimately. So I went ahead and brought in Bloodlust, and which has one of the best cinematic Camillas ever, the Countess of Blood, which obviously we'll talk about when we get to it. But yeah, after the break, we'll be talking Wicked City and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Nice.
It's not easy to ask him for this, but it's something that must be done.
It's about my sister. 2 nights ago, she disappeared.
If you find her changed, can you see that her death is without suffering?
You've got some competition. I've hired the Marcus brothers, and they've got a head start on me.
So that's the guy, the Dunpeel Hunter.
D.
She's out of her mind! If you go in there, you're never coming back!
Oh, I'm coming back.
You're dead!
She's here by her own choice, Dunpeel. I suggest you save your sorry ass now and leave us to travel in peace.
I would if I could believe you, Meyer.
You kidnapped the girl.
I'm afraid you have to die.
I want you to stop your protection of Meyer.
You know, you make me laugh. That's a good one. Someone paid me $100 million to protect my ending. Can you top that?
Well, you drive a hard bargain there, old man. What if I can?
You really are entertaining me, Mr. Stranger. The whole of Carmilla, the bloody countess.
Your mother was human, but your father was a vampire, and you're betraying his ancient blood. You side with humans against us. Our people are facing extinction, and you're contributing to their demise.
don't know what it's like, Charlotte, to live forever in darkness eternal, forever thirsting for blood despite your best intention.
Listen, Meyer, the woman says she wants to go back home.
I don't believe it.
With the fate of the world lying in the balance, his task is simple. Protect a man's life for 24 hours.
I'm putting you in charge of guarding him.
Who is this person?
Mr. Giuseppe Maillard. Guard him without fail, because as far as the radicals are concerned, if they can kill him, they'll control everything.
Thrust into a world of supernatural treachery, his only hope that his new partner is as good as she looks. Top agents from opposite worlds. They're the last defense against the anarchy of the Black World.
For the life of me, I can't figure out why you're my partner.
What you mean is why your partner is a woman of the Black World.
The twisted beings from the other side will do anything to stop them.
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack. Promise to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go! And now, on with the show.
All right, welcome back, folks. This is Mr. Venom, and I'm going to go ahead and drive the bus for the rest of this episode, as these are my picks. As we talked about before the break, we are celebrating anime with a couple of horror-themed anime films. So the first one we're going to talk about comes to us from 1987. This one is written and directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri. Voice actors, a bunch of people whose names I can't pronounce. and of course, the movie is Wicked City. Unrated, coming in at 1 hour and 22 minutes, and our synopsis is as follows. While protecting a signatory to a peace treaty between their people, a male human and a female demon discover that their mutual attraction may be the key to unifying their worlds. It's kind of interesting that they use the word demon in the synopsis here, because the word demon doesn't appear once in the movie. Like, they never actually call any of them demons. They call them like dark world inhabitants, or, they come up with fancy terms for them, even though anybody who watches this movie is going to say, oh, those are demons. I mean, what else would they be? But yeah, interesting that they don't actually use the word in the film. So, like I said, I am a longtime anime fan, so I was very happy to bring a couple of horror animes to this episode. So let's go ahead and get into our general thoughts. Let's bring Derek in first. Derek, tell me what you thought of Wicked City.
It's a very horny movie. But yeah, I actually first heard of this movie through YouTube. Actually, I watched Brandon Tonal's review of it back in the day, and I was kind of curious on it, so I picked up the DVD of it originally, which I upgraded to Blu-ray now. And man, this movie it flies by, because it's this brief breeze 80-minute long movie. You get a lot of action within it, a lot of smoking. The main character of this movie just smokes constantly. He's
it was the 80s. Everybody smoked.
I know, but it felt like I was watching an old John Woo movie. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then we get introduced to the greatest character ever in this movie, Giuseppe Minard, who as I nicknamed him fucking horny Yoda, who's just chilling around in his fucking jumpsuit. And he's like, yeah, I'm a human like you. I'm like, how are you fucking a human? You look like fucking Yoda. Like, this makes no sense. And it makes no more sense, especially when you find out he has like electrical powers. So he's like fucking Raiden.
Yep.
You know? But I dig this movie a lot. There's a lot of like inspiration in movies that we already covered. Like the spider lady with the fucking pussy teeth snatch is definitely from like Tokyo Gore Police. You know, like
Yep.
probably that guy fucking watched that movie and is like, I'm gonna try to make something like that. Live action. Let's do it. But yeah, I dig the story of this one. Uh there's some weird dream sequence stuff later that is kind of confusing later on into the movie where it looks like they're having sex in a dream. Like it's weird. And you know, in that aspect of it. But I love this director's style. Actually, ironically enough, Venom, you picked two movies from the same director.
Yep.
And they're also two movies that are based on the works of like this writer. What the fuck's his name? Where the hell is it?
Is that Hideyuki
Hideyuki
or Norio?
Oh, it's a Hideyuki Kikuchi, who's the creator of the original Wicked City novels, and he's also the creator of Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah.
So that's so these movies do go very well together in that sense. Yeah, the Wicked City is a world that I always wanted to explore. The novels are not like very available here in the States, unfortunately. But there's also a live action Chinese adaptation of the first book, which is also based on from the famous producer Sue Hark, who allegedly also is a ghost director of the movie. And I've seen the only clips I've seen of that are from the same like YouTube reviewer did that movie as well. And there's legitimately a scene where a guy fucks a pinball machine that has a human face on it. And then, yeah, so these movies get fucking weird with that. And yeah, and like this great like body horror. It kind of reminds me of like these creatures are like John Carpenter's The Thing with like, and this is like before hentai was really a big thing, and this is like, I wonder when Legend of the Overfiend came out, and I wonder which came first, because there's a lot of like phallic imagery in this movie. It's not as like graphic, like you don't see like full like, well, there is like sexual scenes in this movie, but you don't see like the tentacle go in the girl's vagina, you know what I mean? Like in like Legend of the Overfiend. And there is some fucking fucked up scenes, like that one scene where he walks into that fucking warehouse and he's getting gangbanged by a bunch of demons.
Yeah, that's a rough scene.
That poor girl gets fucked like by like 15 different guys in this movie.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And she's like, I love you, Rocky, even though I had sex with like 75 dudes.
At least it's not by choice. Oh, man. Well, I'm going to go ahead and come in next here because this is a movie I've been a fan of for a long time. One of the earliest animes. I mean, this, Akira, and then some of the more, TV based animes, some of the earliest stuff I've ever seen. And it always worked for me. I'm not the biggest fan of like sci-fi anime, stuff like Neon Genesis, but give me a good horror, anime, something with demons in it, Ninja Scroll, Demon City, Shinjuku, stuff like that. And I am
director as those too.
Yeah, again. So, and then this is actually there's a dual reason why I paired these two movies. The director is the obvious choice. Yeah, we've got the same director on both films, and who's also creator of Vampire Hunter D. But the other reason I picked it is more a storytelling reason. I look at both of these movies as romance movies masquerading as horror. Obviously, you've got Meyer Link in our next movie, you know, a vampire who first comes off as a villainous, bloodthirsty vampire, but then obviously as the movie goes along, you realize that he's just a vampire in love. And this one doesn't start as a romance, but obviously once Taki and Makie are partners for a little while, obviously Taki starts to, I think Taki develops feelings first before Makie does. But obviously, you know, by the end of the movie, they're together and hoping to be able to save the world. I remember on first watch, I was really impressed with the twist of this movie. The fact that Taki and Makie are first introduced as members of the Black Squad, who are basically bodyguards, you know, that get assignments and they have to protect their, you know, their dignitary or whatever it is that they're protecting, or just flat out fighting demons if that's what their mission is. But then in the third act of the film, you actually get the reveal that it's actually backwards. The Giuseppe Maillard, the person that they're supposed to be protecting, is actually protecting them, and they are the catalysts for this movie. They are the ones that are being protected because, you know, as the movie goes along, we think that it's Giuseppe who is the important one, the one that's going to garner peace between the light world and the dark world. But then we get that twist, and that twist has always worked for me. From the very first time I saw it, I'm like, that's awesome. Granted, you know, that twist may not be the most original thing ever in 2026, but back in 1987, it worked. And not that I saw it the year it came out. I probably saw it for the first time in 1990 while I was in college. I remember my dorm was right next to a video store that had a huge anime section in it. And that's where I got a big part of my anime education, was in the early 90s while I was at the University of New Haven out in Connecticut, where I'm from. So, but yeah, Wicked City is one of those. Derek's right. It's an incredibly horny movie. That's probably the only gripe I've ever had with this, is that I wish it was more horror than sensual. But ultimately, the story still works. The creatures that we get in the movie are, you know, nightmarish. Definitely. I mean, the spider bitch, you see that coming towards you, you're going to shit yourself, whether you just had sex with her or not, which is an interesting kind of aspect to this.
Taki fucking...
The fact that our hero has sex with a demon in the opening scene, inadvertently, mind you. It's not that he knew she was a demon, but still interesting.
Hey, the best is he had a bed with the bartender.
Oh, right. He had a bet with the bartender on whether he'd get to take her home. That was funny. And what's funny is that Taki was actually like working on this girl for like, I think he said like weeks or something. He was trying to get this girl to go home with him. But then on this particular night, a demon entered the picture and basically used the visage of this girl and took her place. So Taki thought he was having sex with the girl that he's been kind of, you know, macking on for the last couple of weeks, but it turns out to be a demon wearing her face. What's interesting is that the demon decided to stay with that look the rest of the movie. Even though she took, you know, she borrowed this woman's face, not literally in the sense that she killed her and took her face, but basically she put the real girl to sleep and then, you know, transformed into her. I found it odd that she kept that. She must have thought the woman was attractive because she kept that look the whole movie. So we never actually get to see her true demon form. I'm sure it is very spider-like, as we end up seeing in the movie, but
yeah, shooting web come out of her vagina and shit.
Oh God, the very first time web comes out of her vagina, I let out an audible yell. Like the first time I saw the movie, I'm like, what the fuck? She's got a giant toothy vagina that takes up most of the front of her torso and it spits out web. Yeah, that's the stuff of nightmares right there. So the long and the short of it is, yeah, I've always been a fan of this movie. I like this story. I like this score. Like the score at times is jazzy. There's like 60s, 70s like lounge music in here.
Yeah, it's very film noirish.
Exactly. And then by the end of the movie, it gets a little bit more like a detective story, like the score you would hear there. And obviously for the action sequences, the music swells up to match the action. So
and then we got the romance song.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just about everything I see in this movie and here, I am a fan of. Not my favorite anime by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if I had to put my finger on a favorite, it would probably be the original Vampire Hunter D, which I did think about bringing to the table here. But like I said, I didn't want to bombard my co-host with 80s anime. I wanted to put at least one more modern movie in there with a slightly different animation style. So hence why I brought Vampire Hunter D, the sequel. So let's go ahead and hear Mike's thoughts on Wicked City. Mike, first time watch, and what did you think of it?
Definitely not a first time watch. This is, well, I have two kind of stories for this movie. The first one is my own experience the first time watching it. Now, this, it came out in 87. I was 7 years old, so I didn't obviously see it at that time. It was sometime in the early to mid 90s in we were still in the VHS video store era, and most video stores around me, if they had it, it'd be like one copy, and it was like very hard to find not rented out already. So this movie kind of became somewhat of a legend before we even saw it, because like what we had heard from other people was like, oh, it's crazy, it's bonkers, it's horny, it's sexy, it's sensual, it's tentacles, what the hell is going on? Well, I don't even understand it, but it's crazy. And of course, you know, there was no internet or IMDb to really look up and research movies, so a lot of times you rely on what other people say. So there was also kind of like a bootleg market for this. Now I live in Northern California, not in the Bay Area, but close enough to where it wouldn't be a strange thing to do for I wasn't old enough at the time, but like, you know, the kids a couple years older than you drive into like Chinatown in San Francisco and like go raid their stores of like imports and bootlegs and all that kind of stuff. So I saw it probably around like 93, 94-ish, and holy shit, did it live up to like the hype of like this crazy insane stuff, especially seeing at the time being like in my early teens. This movie, I mean, it's like everything you guys have already said. I like the story. Like in retrospect, when I thought about it later, having seen it a couple more times and being older and having more context, it does really fit in with the era, because like there's a little neo-noirish aspect to it, cyberpunk kind of like
Got a Blade Runner
Blade
feel to it at
Runner-ish,
times.
yeah. It's like sci-fi dystopian almost, because the ideas and concepts around of like destruction coming, the city itself almost feels like a character. I love movies and animes that actually make the surroundings and the cityscape itself almost a character. Story is good. I really like Wicked City. I've always liked it. I've been a fan. And the second such incident that I had that was noteworthy was when I first started dating my wife in the early 2000s, and she started to pick up on me being like kind of a movie person. Um, we started, getting, going on movie dates, and like she would tell me about movies she watched growing up, and most of the stuff she would tell me would be like pretty standard stuff. And then like out of nowhere, she's like, "Oh, have you ever seen Wicked City?" And at first, my initial reaction was to think there's got to be another movie called Wicked City, because based on everything she's talked to me about so far, I see no room in like her movie watching history that somehow Wicked City.
Mike's wife has a dark side.
I mean, honestly, that's the thing. It's like not really. It's just but we're the same age, me and her. So like she kind of grew up in that same era where like certain movies just had that legendary status, the whispers from everyone about, oh, this weird, crazy movie, Wicked City. So like once she told me and I was like, yeah, then we like watched it together. Because it had been a while for both of us. But yeah, I think this movie's pretty strong. I think it's bonkers enough that like I think you can show it to like modern eras and like generations that come after it, and it'll still come off as kind of bonkers looking, and the
Mhm.
concepts and even stuff that you might say in the proceeding years that became even crazier. I still think you can look at this and say, man, they built a lot of stuff based on Wicked City. I really like the themes too. Like there's duality in everyone's identity. It's like a normal person by day, crazy, but
Yeah, he's like an
demon
electrician.
hunter by night. Yeah, there's fear of others going on. I really like and I feel like the late 80s did this a lot because like this is when like we started getting movies like Videodrome, and Clive Barker came into the scene where you get like sex and violence in the horror, and it didn't feel like the sex and sensuality stuff was there for no reason. It kind of was part of the story, and I think like sex and horror, they just go together. And a lot of times when you think of sex and horror, it gets written off because most people think of it in like slasher movies where it's just girls getting naked for the sake of getting naked. But their sex and violence are like closely related things. Like if you
Sex
run
and
into the wrong
tentacles, baby.
person, yeah, they just kind of are as far as like animalistic attributes of humanity, and as tools of horror, they show up a lot together, and not even just horror movies, but just movies period. And yes, it's a little bit of a shock watching this probably for the first time, but I don't think it's like merely just for shock value. But yes, Wicked City, really love it. I feel like this one, yeah, I think it's gonna be around. I mean, it already has been around and seems to relate with multiple generations, and I think it's
Yes, it
just gonna
has.
always be there.
Because
Yeah,
I'm in it.
it seems like a lot of the 80s stuff that was set in like a dystopian world has aged well. The aforementioned Blade Runner, stuff like that. It's
Akira.
still, yeah, Akira, very watchable to this day. So obviously it fits. And goddamn, I had totally forgotten about this guy's gun. I have never seen a handgun kick back that hard ever. That shit was slamming him into walls every time he pulled the trigger. I thought that was
It was the
great.
tiny cricket from Men in Black.
Yeah, exactly. Except this gun, I mean, this gun is big. It looks like a
Yeah.
big ass Desert Eagle, but
It kind of looks
the
like
like
Hellboy's gun.
oh, to an extent, yeah, I can go with that. But yeah, just I remember thinking, how could this guy so successfully wield this weapon that like pushes him back 8 feet every time he fires it? I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I mean, it just adds to kind of the artistic quality of this. I mean, the gun looks great, the kills look great, all the different demons that we get all look great.
A
It's,
nod
it's
to the thing with the fucking head.
right.
Yeah, I think when you talk about this era uh, relating and still being relevant, like it's similar to like when I was watching Looker that I brought up at the beginning of the show. A lot of the concepts and ideas around technology, it feels like they can still be applied today, just like if you modify it for like where technological advances have gotten us this far. I think we're still asking a lot of the same questions that they were in the 80s. Um, stuff like a Blade Runner, and I guess you could even make the argument for Terminator, because
Sure.
we're still in the infancy of what robotics could potentially do, but we are, in now the year 2026. We're not we probably didn't get as advanced as fast as these movies predicted, but you can still see now like the beginning of stages of like actual androids, not just it's not just software and systems anymore. It's like actual androids being like prototypes to actually do things and like tasks and stuff. So like sure the timeline is not as prompt, right? We're not Cyberdyne isn't starting nuclear war tomorrow or anything, but
As far as we know.
as far as we know, but we are seeing like I would say we're seeing like the infancy stages of like robotics, and who knows where it's gonna go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sex robots, baby.
Exactly. I mean, this one coming off the biomech masterpiece that is Akira, it just kind of, it fits the mold of the time period, just like Mike said. Totally agree. So there you go, folks. That's Wicked City. If you haven't seen Wicked City, go ahead and check it out. I know a lot of our normal listeners probably aren't the biggest anime fans, but if you're into, visceral horror, I think both movies this week are well worth checking out, especially for, if you're in the genre for the first time, like you've never been into anime, I think Wicked City is actually not a bad place to start for horror anime. Part of the reason that I picked the movie, obviously it's regarded as one of the best horror anime ever. I literally watched about 25 to 30 different top 10 or top 100 like horror animes of all time on like YouTube, like those list videos on YouTube. I literally watched about 20 to 25 of them, and both of our movies this week consistently are always in the top 10 on those lists. A couple of lists I saw actually had Wicked City at number 1 as their favorite horror anime ever, and I can't disagree with that. It's not necessarily my favorite, but if you say it is your favorite, I will not argue with you because it is a damn good movie. So, all right, folks, let's go ahead and move on to our next one. Our next movie comes to us from the year 2000, and it is, of course, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. So good. Coming to us from, like I said, the year 2000. This one runs an hour and 43 minutes. This one actually is rated R. It actually does have a rating, as it did play in theaters. I was lucky enough to see this in theaters when it first came out. I think I saw it in 2001. I'm not sure I think the 2000 is like the Japanese release, but I know I was living in Sunland, California at the time that I saw this in theaters, and that would be 2001. So it probably got an American theatrical release the year after its Japanese release. Like I said, coming to us from the year 2000, it is once again written and directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri. So again, keeping with the theme. And our synopsis is as follows. In the year 12,090 AD, the Dampier Hunter D is hired to rescue Charlotte Elborn from the vampire nobleman Meyer Link. Now, this one I've always had a special attachment to. Obviously, it's the sequel to one of my favorite animes of all time. It has a more stylized look to it than the original did. Obviously, we're talking about a 15 year difference between the two films. So obviously the sequel is going to look a little bit better. But like I said, with the first movie, Wicked City, that this is basically a romance masquerading as a horror movie. And obviously, when we're first introduced to Meyer Link, he's very much the villain of the movie. He is the vampire that D is hunting. And he has, in the opening scene of the film, kidnapped a nobleman's daughter, obviously named Charlotte, like I said. And as the movie goes along, the story kind of changes. We end up getting a new antagonist in the third act of the film, and Meyer Link actually turns into more of a protagonist by the third act. But, we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's go ahead and bring Mike in here first. Mike, tell me about your history with Vampire Blunter. Vampire Blunter? Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, and your general thoughts on it.
That's
Well,
the porno version, guys.
Ooh, I like it.
I just read that Pamela Adlon was the voice of Layla, which is cool. I didn't know that. So this is not my first watch, but it is my first watch in a while. I am a big fan of the original, one of my favorites animes, and it's funny because I talked about the original one on 22 Shots during one of their anime episodes, and the original Vampire Hunter D, I think something I liked about it so much was that it felt like it modeled itself after Sonny Leone's Man with No Face trilogy. It had a lot of like Western elements to me. It was like a vampire story set in that world. Of course, instead of like Western villains, all sorts of cool, grotesque looking creatures of the night and all sorts of cool stuff. And yeah, it's always been one of my favorite animes. It probably inspired like the next 10 to 15 years of horror and vampire animes. I think it inspired some of the stuff in like a game like Castlevania, like some of the looks and feel of those games. So then we go all the way to what is it, 2000, I think. And Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Now, the early 2000s is kind of where I wasn't into like the new anime as much. It wasn't that like I refused to watch it. I just wasn't seeking out like this era anymore of anime. It usually had to be like a recommend or someone put something in front of my face and okay, I'll watch it. Um I watched this, probably a few years after it came out, and my initial response was like, okay, holy shit, this is good, but this feels like it was almost inspired by the last 10 to 15 years of vampire stuff that was inspired that was already initially inspired by the first Vampire ID, because this one just has a little bit of everything. It's like a little bit of Bram Stoker in there. It's like Castlevania games in there. Just the amount of carnage and how many like different enemies and bad creatures in this, and action and fighting. And I think this is like damn near like a perfect sequel. I like that it's a sequel, but it doesn't have tons of ties to the first one, just in case like you come across this one first. I believe I read that they're each based off a different book, and I think this one's based off like the third Vampire D book. So it makes sense why you have the character, but other than that, it's pretty much its own story. I like everything about this movie. Like I think there's an argument to say maybe it surpasses the original in a lot of ways. I still put the original like a little bit ahead of it, but um I think this one amps like almost everything up. And maybe, because it came out 15 years later with not a whole lot in between as far as anime movies goes. For this franchise, maybe they just felt they had to, but everything they did in this was good. The dark fantasy elements, just kind of like the one guy on his own in this mission. That's great. That's executed wonderful, and they kept it dark, and they kept it graphic, and the carnage doesn't let up, and it's just a fun ride. For being an hour and 43 minutes, to me it flies by because there's always something happening constantly. And I was never bored at all watching this. I'm surprised it took this long to come out. I don't know the timeline of like the book series, but man, they made us wait, but it was worth the wait. So I'll leave it at that. This is a definitely thumbs up for me.
Absolutely, yeah. Derek, why don't you come on in here? Tell me your thoughts on Bloodlust.
Yeah, so I've seen this movie maybe once before, and it was a very timed like I think maybe like 10 years since the last time I seen this movie. So it was kind of a cool revisit. The movie looks great. It has like this very like, even though it's shot in the 2000, it has like a kind of like old school anime feel to the animation still, which I kind of dug that aspect to it. And it dabbles into a lot of other subgenres too that I didn't expect going into it. Like I love the Western vibes that we still get with this one, but they even added like some fucking sci-fi shit in here with like another world that outer space for vampires, which is kind of a interesting. Actually, it's like one of the second shots of the movie where you actually see it, and that's fucking crazy. And yeah, the story itself, it's kind of like a gun for hire story where you have like they meet at like the fucking last scene of the Wild Bunch. That's what it looked like to me, like the place they were at. And it's very Western based, but they also have like these futuristic aspects of it, like the horses are all like robotic horses and shit like that. And you have like the Marcus clan and their fucking giant cross tank, which is fucking awesome. Like the Marcus clan was a cool like group of people that like they're like secondary characters in this story, and they all have like their own personalities. Like you got Kyle, who looks like a cross between Gambit from X-Men if he had a baby with Egon from the real Ghostbusters cartoon with the hairdo, with his fucking blade things. And then you got fucking Barrock, who has like this bow and arrow thing on his arm. Then you had Nold with his giant fucking Warhammer, voiced by Bender from fucking Futurama, by the way.
Bender and Jake the dog.
Yeah. And then we even have a psychic guy in here that does like this like out of body like attacks. Like it's kind of crazy. Like they all have like these abilities. And in that aspect, I love that aspect of it. And it's kind of sad when we get to see those characters go, because you kind of like as the movie goes on. So it does, when you feel them go, it's like, oh shit. And I love like all the fucking werewolf dude that has like a giant like fucking werewolf thing come out of his chest. That was fucking crazy. Like there's some cool aspects, and then we get to the climax where we get probably the coolest real vampire ever. With Carmela Elizabeth Bathory, which was fucking crazy.
Yeah, it definitely took me by surprise the first time too. I was not expecting to see Carmela in this one.
Yeah, which it kind of ties, because then like because she was like probably like the first female vampire ever, so that's kind of a plus. Then if you go by which they say Dee's actual father, the ancient one, there's a reason why his name is D. Yeah, so that's kind of a cool aspect to it going into it. But yeah, I dig this one. The romance stuff is kind of somber, and I like that character development between Charlotte and Minor, and the whole ending. I love, and that little epitaph scene at the end actually made me tear up a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Love that scene. Yeah, for me, I mean, I mentioned earlier that I saw this in theaters in 2001. I saw it in a little theater in Glendale, California. And I don't know if I should be admitting this on a recorded show, but Mrs. Venom and I actually took mushrooms and went to see this movie in a theater. Might have been a little bit of a mistake, because I just remember barely paying attention to the screen, because I mean, anybody who's taken mushrooms, how psilocybin messes with your mind. And yeah, I think I probably missed like I think at one point I got up and just started walking around the theater. But again, that's a story for another show. But yeah, I absolutely adore this movie. I'm right there with Mike. The original D is probably more a favorite for me, specifically because of Magnus Lee, the antagonist of the first movie. I thought Magnus Lee and his daughter were both stellar in the original Vampire Hunter D. Like I said, I watch that almost every 6 months, the original Hunter D. This one, maybe every couple of years I might throw on Bloodlust, but like I appreciate Bloodlust less for its storytelling and more for its artistic imagery. Like, this movie is fucking gorgeous. I remember watching it in the theater the first time, and even though I was fucked up on mushrooms, I was still in absolute awe of how beautiful this animation was. The way that Charlotte's hair flows in every scene that she's in, just it really, really blew me away. And then, like I said, once you get the reveal later on that Meyer Link isn't actually the antagonist of this film, it makes him that much more likable, because he's literally a vampire that doesn't really want to kill humans. He doesn't want to feed on humans. Obviously, he's a vampire, so he has to. He obviously doesn't want to turn Charlotte because he's in love with her, and he understands that vampirism is a curse ultimately. You know, yes, you get great powers, you know, you can do things that you never thought were possible, but then you can't go outside in the sun, and there's a lot of other limitations that, you know, I'm sure most of our audience is aware of. So to actually see a character like this fall in love, legitimately fall in love with a human, not fall in lust, literally love. Like I said, I don't think they've even coupled at, you know, once we see him in the film. Like, I don't think they've actually gotten together. So I don't think they ever got together by the time, you know, we get to the end of the film. But this animation style, the voice work, you know, we already mentioned, you know, Pamela Adlon and John DiMaggio, some beautiful voice work. The voice of Borgoff, I liked his, Matt McKenzie, I liked his voice for Borgoff a lot. And even the three members of the Barbaroi that kind of try to protect the carriage, Meyer Link's carriage from D, like all three of them are fucking
Shadow
great.
Jester, fucking Black Poison Ivy, and Nightwolf. Yeah, I like
Black Poison Ivy. But and then all three of their death scenes are epic. I really like Nolt's death scene too. The Marcus brother who gets killed by the shadow demon, Benki.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. But yeah, just about every death in this movie is fairly spectacular. Especially when you spend so much time with these characters and you don't want to see them die ultimately, you know? So, you know, it ends up being very sad. And again, I'm right there with Derek. That epitaph scene, it got me in the feels, you know, the first couple of times I watched it. It's definitely the fact too that they don't add, like, usually when you have a big time jump like that, there'll be like text on screen that says like 50 years later or whatever. We don't get that here. We understand as we're watching the scene, we understand what we're watching, especially because of the promise that Layla and Dee made to each other. It absolutely just, it really gets you, you know, and watching those big blue eyes of that little girl at the end, looking up at Vampire Hunter D
just like her grandma.
Oh my God, I couldn't get over it. So yeah, like I said, I still tend to favor the first one. I feel like the first one had more horror in it as well. Yeah. This one, like I said, they spend a lot more time with Meyer Link and Charlotte together as opposed to a lot of horror set pieces. But we do get the Barbaroi scene, which the Barbaroi, I mean, that's the movie I want to see. Derek wants to see the Marcus Brothers movie. I want to see the Barbaroi movie because I think the Barbaroi movie would be so visceral and bloody, and oh my God, it would be amazing. And to get the, you know, origin story of the horny Yoda in this movie. Yes, both movies this week or this episode have horny Yodas in them. Yeah. So I kind of, that's a third thing that brings these, that's kind of a similarity between the movies. So yeah. And this one's even more horny because he flat out tells Dee how attractive he is. That's got to be uncomfortable to have a little old demon tell you how attractive.
Yeah, he's like fucking Mike Myers in the 50 Steve Revell in fucking 54.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously we don't spend much time with Dee's lineage in this one because we had a big old explanation in the first movie of, where Dee is from and, who his father and mother
Yeah.
are. But so we don't have to spend a lot of time with it in this movie, which I appreciate. I mean, by the time we're done with the first movie, I don't think we ever need to bring up Dee's father again because it'll always be in the back of our mind that he is the son of the great one. So, blah, blah, blah. So, and that's another reason I tend to give the nod to the originals, that final battle between Magnus Lee and Dee.
Yeah, when Magnus realizes, he's like,
the
"Oh
the
shit!"
look of fear, the look of fear on a 5,000-year-old vampire's face is always satisfying.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The one scene that I always love about this one, especially on this rewatch, is that scene where he goes by that horse with the old man,
awesome
and the old
scene.
man tells the story. Oh, it's so good.
And Charlotte is there to hear it, man. If Charlotte didn't follow him that day, she probably never hears that story and has a completely different opinion on Dee, which, I'm glad that she actually overheard that story. It definitely lets her know and lets, the audience know that the Dunpeel hunters, they're not, how could we put it? They're not evil. They're kind of forced into their line of work, just the fact that they are a human vampire hybrid, they're kind of forced into the work of vampire hunters because they have a lot of the abilities of a vampire but not as many of their limitations. I like that Dee does eventually succumb to sun poisoning in this one because in the first movie we see vampire hunter Dee out in the sun, so we never question the fact that he's a vampire and he can go out in the sun. It's kind of like the first Blade movie. He's a daywalker. We just assume that he's a daywalker. But in this movie, they actually address what happens when he spends too much time in the sunlight. And I love that. I think it was a great addition. It makes Dee seem a little bit more human, might be the wrong word, but just a little bit more like he's not ultra overpowered. You know what I mean? Like he actually does have a weakness, and ultimately it endears him more to the audience. I think, at least it did with me. That he's not just an all-powerful vampire hunter that nobody can touch. He actually does have his weaknesses. He actually cares about humanity, which, among the vampire population, that's deemed as another weakness. Just like in Wicked City, where we had demons accusing, our main female demon of being a traitor. You could kind of say the same thing here, that Dee is kind of, being a traitor against his own kind, but ultimately that is the nature of the Dunpeels. So again,
Yeah, even Carmilla later in the movie, like, you betray your own kind.
Exactly. And then Camilla, holy shit. Camilla's design is fucking amazing. This is easily cinema's greatest Carmilla ever put on screen. I mean, just the way that her dress flows behind her, the way that her head looks almost misshapen. Like she's
later when she looks at the fucking picture, nice hat.
Yeah. Like I love the dichotomy of Carmilla, where she's obviously a beautiful woman, but she's very monstrous in her look. The shape of her head, her height. I mean, she's as tall as Dee, and we know Dee is over 7 feet tall. So yeah, just her
Yeah,
design.
when I was watching it earlier, because my mom was downstairs, she's like, "Who the fuck is this lady?" I'm like, "Well, she's based off a real person, Ma. That's why she looks like that."
Exactly. And do your research on, Elizabeth Bathory, because holy shit, if you think Carmilla was evil, and this woman actually existed in real life, and she is the sheer definition of evil. So some extra homework for you guys. Go out and do some research on Elizabeth Bathory. Trust me, you won't regret it. But anyway, what else can I say about Bloodlust? Absolutely love this story. I love the score. It definitely has more of a Hollywood movie score, almost like if, Jerry Gold, what the hell's his name? Goldsmith. Thank you. Like it's almost like if he did it's very orchestral. It swells with the action. So, it's almost like Goldsmith did the score, but it's so beautiful. Animation, set design, the little bit of CGI that they use in the movie, which is just for like backgrounds, is beautiful. It's perfect. Like if someone didn't tell you there was CGI utilized in this movie, you probably wouldn't be able to tell because the backgrounds look so nice, but a couple of them are actually, computer generated. So, but it's minor, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, like I said, I can't say enough good things about this movie. I do wish it had a little, just like with Wicked City, I wish it had a little bit more horror to it, more horror set pieces, maybe a little bit less on the romance. But again, I understand, the nature of the relationship between Meyer and Charlotte, and that was the driving force of this movie. Because obviously, if it wasn't for Meyer taking Charlotte, Dee would have never been called, and we'd have a whole different movie. It probably would have been based on a different manga, or a different book of this series. So yeah, I mean, what else can I say? Love the movie. Another one that, whether you're an anime fan or not, I think you should check it out. If you're a horror movie fan or a vampire fan in general, I think both Vampire Hunter D movies are essential viewing. I would say more Bloodlust because the animation style of the original D is a little bit more generic, a little bit more of that like 80s animation style, which isn't a bad thing, mind you. I'm just saying it looks like a lot of other animes that you would have gotten in the 80s. Whereas Bloodlust, I don't know that I've ever seen an anime that looks exactly like Bloodlust. Beautiful animation. Like I said, the way that the hair flows, the way that the sinew and blood flows throughout, it's all gorgeous. The inside of Carmilla's castle looks amazing. And then the spaceship, the rocket ship itself, it's definitely a weird design for a rocket ship, but at the same time, it's a rocket ship designed by a vampire. So it probably wouldn't look the same as if a human did it. So I do wish that we would have gotten more of the City of the Dead, but like Derek said, we get an image of it early in the movie, and ultimately that's all we really get. Just descriptions of the place, how it's a place with no sunlight.
You hear that, Japan? Make us new one where they go there.
I would love to see a third Vampire Hunter D movie where they actually went there and Meyer Link was still living a peaceful life by himself in the City of the Dead. I think that would be great, but maybe a little, pedantic for some, but whatever. I like fan service, so I'm okay with it.
Would they give Vampire Hunter D a lightsaber?
Oh God, let's not go that far. All right. Well,
maybe in the new Vampire Hunter D, they'll cast Robert Englund so we can get him back in the news.
Yeah, might as well. He's in, he hasn't been in enough stuff lately.
Yeah, we need him back in the fake news.
There we go. All right. Well, gentlemen, anything else you want to say about Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust before we wrap a bow on this one?
It's a great movie. It's but unfortunately, it's kind of hard to find now because the Blu-ray also just went out of print again.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm glad I fucking grabbed it when I did. Yeah, if you go on Amazon, it's like $400.
Wow, maybe I should sell mine.
I mean,
I could use the money.
If I had to say anything, I'd just say watch both. Like, they're both really good, regardless of which one you end up liking better. I think they're both very strong.
Yeah, like
definitely.
I loved. I was gonna say, I just saw the original Vampire Hunter D in theaters last year for its anniversary, and it looked fucking great still. I love that set piece, and it's like Mike said, it was like fucking the Man with No Name fucking trilogy.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, very much a Western. I mean, aside from just the fact that he rides a horse and wears a big black hat, there's a lot of elements of spaghetti westerns in here, and in the new one too, in Bloodlust as well. I mean, the shots in the desert right before they get to the sand mantas.
Oh, by the way, the sand fucking stingrays. I love those things.
Oh, they're awesome. I'm surprised D took the chance that he took to try to traverse them, but I mean, he's Vampire Hunter D, so I guess he's not worried about dying.
The hand was like, "Fuck this."
Oh yeah, and what's his name? Michael McShane as has his left hand. I'm actually familiar with Michael McShane from Whose Line Is It Anyway? If anybody's ever seen the British version of that show, Michael McShane is the big guy that's on a lot of the episodes. He's actually hysterical. So I thought he was great casting as the left hand. Like I picked out his voice instantly the first time I watched this, just because he was literally actively on Whose Line back in 2000. So
I know him as fucking
choice.
Friar Tuck.
Awesome. Yeah,
fucking
that's right.
Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. So there you go, folks. That's going to be our 2 anime features for the month. Obviously, it seems like all 3 of us love them and recommend them. So if you haven't checked them out, try. I mean, Wicked City is easier to find than Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, but if you find it, it's well worth your hour and 43 minutes to invest in this one. So
maybe they'll put a new version out in a few weeks or something. You never know.
Well, I would still love a 4K of both movies. I mean, give me a 4K set of both of them and I would be a happy camper. So
hell yeah.
All right, folks. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Mike to close out the festivities for this episode.
All right. So this show hopefully lets you know horror can be found in all sorts of places, including animated features. So with that, let's see what else we got for people to listen to. I'll just mention the latest episode of Fresh Cuts. Well, as of listening to this episode, it will probably have been Obsessed. I'm no, excuse me, Passenger will be the latest. Unless, well, yeah, probably. It'll be right around the time this releases.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Either that or Backrooms, just depending when it goes up. But
well, it is the anime episode, so let's hope our network head actually gets it up in the month of May, even if it's just for a couple of days. It would make me happy.
Yeah, I trust it'll be at least up on YouTube, but hopefully on the network as well still in May.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. Venom, what do you have for people to listen to?
The only other thing I have, which will also include Derek, is the milestone 50th episode of No More Room in Hell presents Creature Comforts. On that episode, we decided to do something a little bit different. So rather than talking about a specific creature feature, we decided to do a top 5 of our favorite creature designs. So, lots of talk of giant creatures and, Carpenter gets mentioned a couple of times, and just a fun episode overall. Actually, a lot quicker than I thought it would go. For some reason, I thought that was going to end up being like a 2-hour episode, but it's still
especially since we didn't have a lot of repeats either.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we only had a couple of repeats throughout, so I'm definitely happy that we were still able to keep it right around an hour, which is our average length for an episode. So that'll be available sometime. I would imagine as you listen to this episode, that one will be available. I haven't started my edit on it yet, but it's only been a couple of days since we recorded it. And, I've been working, but I have the next few days off. So I'll be working on that and hopefully get that episode out sooner than later. And ultimately, other than Fresh Cuts and this show, that's about all I have for now. So back to you, Mike.
All right.
Don't even ask me, Mike.
All right. I will not. But the only other thing I got that's new is the latest episode of Cinema Beef that I recorded. We did a double feature of an Elvis movie called Roustabout and the John Waters movie Crybaby. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, we called it the Hips Don't Lie episode. So that was super fun. It was with one of the guys from This Is the Doom Show. And
Richard?
Yeah.
I love that guy. I love his show.
He's an Elvis film connoisseur, so I had him recommend me some because Prime has a handful, but I had actually never watched like a Elvis movie all the way through, just kind of seen clips of them through the years. And he gave me some recommends of like the ones he actually thinks are strong films and not just kind of like, look, it's Elvis singing songs in a movie, you know? So
Did you recommend that older one with Kurt Russell? I forget the name of it. I think it was just called Elvis. It was like a TV movie.
Directed by John Carpenter.
Well, let's not go that far. Oh, wait.
No,
No,
it
that's
is.
right. He
Yeah.
did direct that. That's right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. I thought you were fucking around. No, you're right. Yeah, he absolutely directed that one of his first movies. But yeah, that's probably. I mean, I'm not the biggest Elvis fan. I appreciate him for what he did and his place in music history. I never really got into his music all that much, but that particular Elvis movie with Kurt Russell, I remember liking that one. So
yeah, the only movie that I remember watching with Elvis actually in it is that one he did with Charles Bronson. That one was pretty good. Because Chucky Bronson's in it.
Yeah, one of the ones I watched on Prime was called Girls, 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 and it's basically just him taking a job in like a hotel and a dock, and of course he gets involved with like a love triangle with two females because what's an Elvis movie without beautiful women falling all over themselves to get with Elvis? So it was good for what it was. Like Elvis sang, like there's always catchy musical numbers, and he actually did sing "Love Me Tender" at one point in the movie. So
Kid Galahad, that's the one. Yeah, with Charles Bronson.
Okay, Kid Galahad. Yeah, by far my favorite cinematic Elvis will always be Bruce Campbell and Bubba Hotep. I don't care. I fucking love
DCB, baby. Never fuck with the king.
So good.
All right. Well,
I know it's not an Elvis movie, but I don't care. It's one of my favorite Elvis interpretations ever.
Next up for episode 76, Derek, the rotation is back to you. Do you even know what you were picking yet?
I have a few ideas. I didn't really narrow it down, but I'll let you guys probably know by either tomorrow or Tuesday of this recording.
Nice.
Sounds good. And that'll probably take us into June with our next recording. So, with that said, thank you everyone for listening to episode 75 of No More Room in Hell. It's time to go burn again. So,
we gotta go to that bathhouse now so I can get some nice titties.
Thanks everyone for listening. Let's say bye to our listeners.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna descend down to the lake of fire to have sex with a demon, so I'll see you guys later.
One of the best reasons.
A lot of smoking down there.
Peace.